but you should still ban them. Anyway, welcome to episode 218 of the Super Weapon Podcast, man. The most overpowered podcast on the internet. It's your boy Darius the Artist, and as always, I got my co-host DC here with me today.
Go Lions. Woo!
One pride.
If you're not on the Lions train, you're welcome to stay. Only for 2 minutes, though. Then you got to get the hell out. But yes, I am here. What up, though, everybody? It's another kind of cool Saturday. It's a little brisk outside, not too bad compared to what we had last week. I'm I woke up very ecstatic for this one. I'm not going to lie. I really did. I woke up hype and hungry as hell. So I had to go get some breakfast, but it's not often that we get to talk about Nintendo. And we've really, not just me and Darius, but I think the world, it's safe to say the world, and Brother Ivan, of course. We've been waiting a long time for this reveal, and no more pump fakes, guys. This is actually it. We have a real image straight off Nintendo's, all their socials and commercials, and it's here. The Nintendo Switch 2 is here, and I'm very excited to talk about it and see what do we get. Like, when are they going to do a direct? When are we going to get some specs? What games are coming out? You know, the whole shebang. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
how about you, man?
it's crazy. It's been 8 years since the original Switch came out, and I'm excited for a couple of different reasons why, when this got announced, and I think it's going to be good overall for the gaming industry. Because just like I mentioned, the tech in the Switch and the original Switch is pretty old at this point, and it was limiting a lot of game development, not just on Nintendo side, but third party as well. We didn't get a lot of information, pretty much any information about like specs, launch titles or anything. I will have to say, I was kind of disappointed with that, but I think that was a product of the leaks themselves and people kind of ruining the surprise or the setup that they made that Nintendo may have had. I feel like this was just like a here you guys go since you want to know so bad trailer. You know what I mean? Since you know.
God, let us. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of when a woman says she loves a guy who's spontaneous.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, you keep trying to surprise her, but she keeps being nosy. Nintendo was like, damn it, you know what? Here.
Yeah,
this is what you want.
This is what you want. We're gonna give it to you. Yeah, and I will say, so we're just going to play the trailer. I'm not going to have any music playing from the trailer just because of copyrights in case.
Copyright and the Nintendo rights, you got to be very...
The Nintendo lawyers are literal ninjas.
They was looking at me for using Mario in a thumbnail, so hey.
Yeah, they
trust me.
They're kind of crazy.
But I guess they saw that it was no ill intent.
Yeah. I will say, just watch, because I watched this trailer, I think, a few different times, and it seems like... the initial, thoughts, they're just kind of rambling out of my head here. It's definitely a bigger Switch. As you can tell, it transformed. It has a kickstand on the back, which I think actually is pretty fucking dope. I'm not going to lie. And I like
simple little stuff like that, that's what gets me.
Yeah,
thought of just making it more convenient to use, user-friendly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, this is the first time we've gotten, I think in a while or ever since Nintendo's really done a actual sequel console. Typically this doesn't kind of fit their MO, but
yeah,
I think
usually make something different. You're right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, no, they've always kind of done something different, right? And I feel like this was a result of the market and just where the game industry is in general. They kind of had to. I don't want to say they kind of had to do this, but I feel like just with the success of the Switch itself, being their number one selling console of all time, one of the highest selling consoles, of course, that, I'm not necessarily upset with this, especially with, the handheld market being revived essentially, not just because of the Switch, but because of the likes of Steam and Lenovo and a few others. I'm actually, like I said, I just feel like it was a miss. Whereas, Super Nintendo Switch was literally right there. We just, come on, let's have a little fun with this. But I'm joking, but I am pretty excited for this. I think that the one thing I noticed just in the trailer just now, because we haven't seen anything as far as feature set or what's going to be different about the Switch itself. But if you look at if you watch the video here, it looks like the Joy-Cons, if they're going to be still called that, look like they have some sort of like mouse-like capabilities because they're kind of gliding across the desk. So I wonder if you'll be able to play games with them using them like that. Because they all, Nintendo always tries to innovate. Even the smallest things. Like I will give them credit for that. And of course, rumors are it's supposed to be a lot more powerful. I think I've seen reports of it being around like PS4, PS4 Pro, which I think is actually really good. I mean, just considering
the size and and usually the route that Nintendo takes, that was a big thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a big selling point. I will have one of these. I'm definitely gonna get one because I've already found so many uses for it as just a to have with me to play in various places where I have idle time. The thing that you said about the Nintendo usually doing a whole different kind of console, like them not usually sticking to one format. We discussed this on a prior pod about that, and I'm actually excited that they didn't switch it because I think what they had with the Switch when it like came out, I've always been a fan of the console itself, the physical console, right?
Yeah.
I always thought it was a dope concept. I for this one, I didn't think they had to go too far away from that, which they didn't. And I'm glad to see that. I didn't see too many people online complaining about that.
No.
They had memes, like people just had funny memes like, oh, Nintendo 1, and then they'll turn to the side like, oh, Nintendo Switch 2. But like I didn't see anyone really like bashing it.
Yeah.
It's a good system. They didn't need to change it. And I'm glad that they did.
And I think the leaks kind of helped with that too. Like we already kind of knew what this was going to be. Just thinking back to, rumors and everything down to the actual build models kind of leaking out there. Like people were already expecting this. And, I like the color scheme too, like the all black. It kind of reminds me of like a Steam Deck. I'm pretty sure that was on purpose as well. Ivan in chat says, looks like a Tegra T239 built on NVIDIA Ampere 3000 series cards. I've heard something similar to that. I don't think it'll be quite that powerful, but I think where it'll make up the difference will be in like AI upscaling and possibly DLSS, or it won't be DLSS. It'll probably be I think it's FSR for AMD, because traditionally consoles use AMD parts and not NVIDIA, but the idea still holds the same between DLSS and FSR. So I definitely could see that. I think that they're going to be positioned to take it, or developers will be positioned to take advantage of the power of the console. I'm not going to say that I think everything will be 60 frames, like 1080p 60, but I think most of their first-party titles will, because, I mean, they're magicians when it comes to developing for you look at, what was the Breath of the Wild sequel that came out recently? I'm not a big Zelda guy, but,
God,
I can't think of the name of it.
Help us out, chat.
Yeah, help us out with that the name of that. But I do think that we'll probably get, because now we start to get interesting conversation to where do you think that Nintendo will take some of the titles from the Switch? Because for those of you who are curious, your old games will work on this. Tears of the Kingdom, thank you, Weenie. For your old Switch games will work on this. I think minus like the Labo and just a very few small number of accessories, obviously because the Switch is bigger, so the Labo won't fit on this new Switch 2. But I wonder if they're going to do something like that where they show off, Tears of the Kingdom, or some of their other more prolific titles kind of with this new hardware. Because Nintendo, once again, they've never done anything like that. Whenever they launch new hardware, they usually just focus on what's coming forward, or they'll resell you something. They'll resell you something, in a different package. I saw a lot of people talking about Mario Kart 9, which could be a possibility. I think that would be a huge game for them this year. We've already gotten reports that Metroid Prime 4
has 8 been out.
God, man, 8's been out for a long time. Like, let me see. Mario Kart 8 has been out for gosh, man.
Did that come out with the Switch?
I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew, but I know it's been out for It's been out for
Yeah,
over
there's an
10 years.
ongoing joke.
It's
Like,
been over
yeah,
10 years. It came out in 2014, so we are due for a new Mario Kart game. My God, 2014? That was the Wii. That was the Wii U. Oh my Jesus, Nintendo. And people were still buying it, of course. So you can't be mad at that. But yeah, I mean, because you have that, you'll probably have a Metroid. You have Metroid Prime 4 coming out this year, allegedly. And I mean, I'm just pretty excited for it, man. Let's just hope this isn't the Wii U of the Switch. I don't think it will be. I don't think it'll be anything close to the Wii U. Nintendo learned their lesson one time. That's all it takes. One time for them, man. Like they will never do that again. I don't think. Like I honestly don't know anyone who actually owned a Wii U. If we're being honest, it was just such a weird console for them. But let's talk about like price point, man. We like I said, we didn't get any sort of like release date, pricing information, but where would you be okay, as far as price point wise, purchasing a Switch 2? And would this be a day one pickup for you?
man, I'm not fighting that crowd. I would love for it to be a day one pickup, but we know this thing's about to do stupid numbers.
Yeah.
Especially with all the weight and the hype around it.
Yeah.
Man, I say about 400. I think it's going to be around 400.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm very lenient when it comes to games and game pricing now because we are in such a price crisis, is what I like to call it, with all the games and just creating games and how expensive it's getting, and companies trying to find ways to monetize, which will like pretty much something we're going to talk about later on with another console. But yeah, I'm okay with the I would be okay with the like four. I'm seeing in the chat our good brother Ivan said around 450.
Possibly.
450. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that, man. I think Nintendo and the hardware, I think it's worth that. I just love the mobility of it. I love the handheld aspect of it. I want to see the capabilities online.
Yeah.
I want to see what's going on with the online store.
That's something big for me too, is the online features. I was talking
Yes,
to
yes. In this day and age, yeah, it's almost a given, right?
yeah, I mean, I was talking to a good friend of ours, Darkstar, text me the day this got announced, and we were kind of just texting about it. I really hope that, and I understand Nintendo's position on this, especially with them being more of a family friendly company, and just their target audience, which has been younger gamers pretty much the entire time they've been making games. I would love to a dream thing for me, but I don't think it'll happen, is maybe we get a Discord app on the Switch 2,
I
or
can see that happening. I
you
can see
know
them.
something as far as like more modern online features outside of just a storefront to buy digital games. I mean,
Yeah, almost like a place to like better to just like chat features and just
right.
I think that would definitely do them a good service with doing that. But
I mean,
I think
it's
they'll do it right because they're gonna have it to where, there's not gonna be no like you said, they're very like family oriented to a certain degree. So, it's a thin line you tread with all that, but I could see that coming. I could see
I
that
mean,
coming
like
with this machine.
especially if rumors are to be true about certain third party games that could be coming to the Switch 2. I would hope that they would have something for those gamers who may come from other platforms to play, their favorite third party game, multiplayer game. Like I feel like they've been slowly moving in that direction, but I could be totally off base here. But it would be nice to see. Excuse me, guys. I keep picking them. It would be nice to see them do something along those lines. Like I said, maybe even not. If you don't want to do like a fully featured Discord app, or maybe have like some sort of age restriction on that. I mean, oh yeah, we are getting a Nintendo Direct April the 2nd. Sorry guys, I forgot to mention that earlier at the end of the trailer. If you haven't watched the trailer, please, I encourage you guys to go watch it yourself. It's only about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But I really hope that we get some sort of deep dive on what their plans are for their online features for this, especially with this being probably an on the go console. You know, I know a lot of people tend to travel and stuff, especially, you know, gamers like to travel with
Yes, sir. I
things like
can't wait to get
Steam Decks and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
my
So
little Nintendo case, my little case for it.
yeah,
Be on
like
the
that'll be
move.
cool. Like I don't know. It's something about Nintendo just brings the kid out of me, man. And I really do, you know, because I was talking to Lisa the other day about the Switch too. She's actually interested in it too. You know, it's just something that brings like the kid gamer out of me, and I really want to get back in touch with playing these types of games. I know you're not a big fan of Mario, but I'm excited for whatever the next 3D Mario game's gonna be. And it's just,
Yeah, it's well, I'll give them this, right? Not the biggest Mario fan, but just like their console, right?
yeah,
Mario tends to
hey,
be
Darkstar,
very innovative
right?
with their games. I'll give them that. Like it always gives you something different, a different way to play, a different playing style. There's always something there with Mario. You know, that's their flagship game, and it does well reinventing itself and pretty
Yes,
much being like, because think about it. All right, we got Mario, right? Who does well reinventing himself, and people love the games no matter like what it is because they're usually are good games. And then compare it to people who've been just to give you a feel. Compare it to people who've been kind of having a identity crisis, a la Halo. You know,
yeah,
where they're trying to figure out like how can we get people like re-interested in the Master Chief. But Mario games tend to do that flawlessly. Like
true.
if you got a magic hat or if you just using pieces to traverse through the certain areas of a map like a puzzle, like it's always some little niche little thing with Mario that makes the games like, you know, they don't get stale. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They always add a little bit of something in there just to give you that different feel. And I'm actually want to see what the plumber's going to do on the Switch too. Like what little thing they'll have in there to make it stand out and be
yeah,
different. Like I'm honestly like people. I talk to people like through Reddit and Twitter and stuff, and they be surprised that I'm a Nintendo guy. Like even though I don't have one, it's always exciting to see what Nintendo's doing.
well, I
I'm
mean,
gonna get this. I'm gonna
the
get this
thing
console.
about it too
I
is,
want it.
you know, a lot of us grew up playing Nintendo games, you know, when there wasn't really a lot of
Yeah,
choice.
exactly.
You know, Nintendo's been around for such a long time. Even before they were making games, they've been around such a long time, man. And you know,
Exactly.
even though we may have moved away from playing these types of games as much, or some people have, right? But you still have a lot of people who love it. I mean, this is why they do so well now, and why they continue to do well. Because just like you said, especially with a game like Mario or Zelda, they'll come up with like a core gameplay mechanic, and they'll expand it into
Mm-hmm.
the entirety of the game. And I think that's such a unique thing that they do that other developers could honestly learn from, because you don't really see that in a lot of other games. Or you'll have a sequel to a franchise, and you know it'll just continue with the same template, like, and that's why I think, I mean, you look at, like, you know, not trying to throw any dirt on them, but Ubisoft, right? You know, they have a very effective uh development when it comes to what they make. Like, look at Far Cry. Like, the setting may be different, but let's just be honest, you've played one Far
It's the
Cry,
same mechanics,
you
bro.
know, a Far Cry game, right? You know, people were
You- It's
even going so far as to calling the Avatar game that came out, it was very Far Cry like, because that, I mean, that's just kind of, they have templates for things, and Nintendo is able to get away with innovating, trying new things, and selling games, which is a hard thing to do in today's market. Because you can't really, you know, games don't even have to. It doesn't matter if a game is necessarily good anymore, and it probably won't sell. I mean, and once again, that's something we're going to talk about in our next story. But they have such a
mm-hmm.
unique part of the market that they just sit in, and they have for such a long time, that I don't, you know, it doesn't, honestly, it don't matter. Whatever they announce for the direct this week, or this, excuse me, this year, people are going to be excited for. I know I am, you know, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
very excited to see what they're gonna do, man, because it's like we're getting a mid console treat, right?
yeah,
Because we're pretty much over the hype of the PlayStation, Xbox, their new entries into
Yep.
this generation's consoles. And so like that hype kind of just wore down after the PS Pro, and
Man,
to
and you
get a
don't really
Switch
see
right
anybody talking
now.
about that either, too. Yeah, good point.
We'll have a sidebar conversation about that. But yeah, just to get this at the time that we're getting it, I think it just drops perfectly because it
Mhm.
gives people something in gaming to be excited about. Um, and yeah, man, I just want to see with this direct, because we will be talking about it. I know they're probably going to show maybe a few games that's going to come out with the console, and that's what I want to see. And it's going to be a Mario game. We know that. Big Mario holding it down. Hey, I don't like him, but I respect him. You know what I'm saying?
Let me see what day of the week that is. April 2nd,
Big Mario holding it down, bro. He gonna come out, and
2025.
I would love to see some totally new IPs. That would be dope.
That's a
If we can get one
Wednesday.
or
They
two.
are so strange, man. They do stuff in the middle of the week.
Hey, you know what? Maybe
Middle.
over there, Wednesday is their Friday.
It
All
could
right.
be. Yeah, you're right. It could be just middle of the day. Probably it's gonna be like 1 p.m. or something when everyone's
They
at
got to
work.
keep us on our
Yeah.
toes, bro.
At least it'll give us something to look
At
forward
least we
to, I
can
guess.
watch it, then we could talk about it Saturday. We'll
Yeah,
have
that's
time to
true.
watch it.
That's true. That's true. It's just funny, man. It's just
Side note, by the way, if you guys are having problems with your thumbnails on YouTube and you're using Chrome, make sure that your Chrome is updated and your cache is clear. Just throwing that out there.
yes.
Just throwing that out there.
So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean that's the Switch 2 announcement. Of course, we're gonna keep covering this as the year goes on. I'm gonna say, before we jump to the next topic, because the original rumor was it was gonna come out in March, but obviously that's not happening with the direct in April. They're gonna do something weird. Nintendo's gonna launch this shit in like July. I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. It's gonna be after the major summer, the E3 season, if you want to call it that. Like I really do feel like they're gonna launch it sometime in the summer. I don't know why. I don't have any reasoning other than the fact that GTA 6 is gonna come out this year, and not that Nintendo has to worry about that, but I think that they're gonna want to put this in a point of the year where they kind of have free reign, and that's
Mhm.
just my theory. Like I don't think it's gonna come out in the fall. I think this is gonna hit in the summer of 2025. That's just my theory.
I'm always going with the holidays. That's just me. But this time, I think Switch is going to want to. I semi agree with you. I might not think like the same date,
Yeah,
but sometime around
it
there.
has to be
Because
summer, right? Like
I think the thing is, right, and I think this is for every game out this year. Grand Theft Auto 6 is causing chaos. And what I mean by that is everyone's trying to figure out when this game is dropping because they don't want to drop shit around that time. And so I think the Switch is in the same boat. Like I feel like even
Yeah.
though they stand kind of in their own lane,
let's just
I
be
feel
honest.
like
GTA is the white whale, man. Nobody wants to go up against GTA 6.
no, like everybody's literally configuring their release dates for all their stuff because they're trying to figure out. And this is why I was like, yo, this game don't come out this year. It's gonna be so fun to talk about video games. I swear to God. But I agree with you. I think a hot summer date
Yeah.
is due. Maybe June. Like get us a weird ass like
I just
June
think so. I mean, because you think about it, right? Like
or
I imagine.
August, early August, something weird.
Yeah, I imagine at least by the end of summer we'll have an idea, if not a release date for 6, announcement of a delay, right? We have to.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Switch.
No,
is
no,
gonna
no,
come
no.
out.
I agree with you, but I'm
Okay,
saying
okay.
just talking about GTA 6 because we love to talk about it here every episode. I think that it'll
Like the
hit.
rest of the
We'll
world.
get some sort of release date, release year, release window for 6, and then we'll start getting release dates for everything else. So if we don't get a release date for the Switch in April at the direct, but it kind of has to be because they're gonna let people touch it and play with it, at conventions and stuff. Like that's the only thing that makes sense in my head is that this has to release sometime in the summer. Or August is actually a good time of the year too. Now that you mentioned that, Because I mean, like, imagine, you know, games that get announced that are coming out this year that could third party games. Like, imagine like Borderlands 4 on the Switch 2. That would actually be amazing. Will it happen? Probably not, or it could, but that'd be cool. Like, that would give them a strong lineup of games going into the fall. You know, like I said, we're gonna get Metroid Prime 4 sometime this year. I imagine that'll probably be a fall game. I don't think we'll get a Mario game this year unless it's Mario Kart 9. Maybe that'll be a launch title. Like they typically, and this is something else that Nintendo
What if
does.
they just go left field?
What do you mean?
Well, like, I don't know. I was just thinking about something because I was thinking about the direct and like maybe some game reveals, and I was just thinking like, what if you get like a Star Fox or
Hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If we get a new Star Fox game announcement, I don't care what I have to do to get my hands on a Switch 2. I'm getting
Oh, you a Star Fox man.
Star Fox, man. I spent so many hours playing Star Fox 64 and even the terrible sequel that was on the GameCube back in the day. Like, I love Star Fox, man. That is my like true. That's probably my favorite Nintendo franchise of all time. Like, full stop. Like, no bullshit. I fucking love Star Fox, and it's been forever.
I was thinking they would blow their. I think they would blow like people's socks off with
I
that.
would
like
love that.
That would be so dope during the direct.
Yes,
you just come on, then you see the little fox, and like it'd be dope because.
Either that or maybe like a
got
Kirby.
A chance to play Star Fox, but I always thought it was a cool game because I like.
It's fun, man. Star Fox is super fun.
I believe it.
I mean, and you could play it on the using their subscription service. That's how they get it. That's how they get you, right? And they're probably gonna take their games up to $70. I'm sure it's gonna happen. You know, that's another point of contention.
A lot of talking about that,
and I'm gonna buy them.
A lot of arguing in these streets.
It's gonna be $70. Their games are gonna be $70. Like,
it's a game pricing crisis. I'm telling you.
Yeah, there's no way Nintendo doesn't raise the price to $70 for their games. They're this. I mean, if they raise the price of the Switch,
and GTA is gonna be like $89. I'm telling you right now.
Man, imagine they set that precedent, right? That would be insane.
They said it'll change the industry. It's been articles saying literally that would change like the gaming industry.
It would, because what did I say last time? All it takes is one. That's all it takes.
Dude, if this
all it takes is one
to be a multi-billion-dollar game just to create it, you don't think they about to sell that for 89, maybe 100?
They're gonna promote their special edition, whatever that's gonna be. You get to play it 3 days early or something, right? Like typically AAA games will do that. And
everybody's gonna be buying it.
And most people are gonna buy that. Yeah, nobody's gonna want to be late to the party. It's gonna shatter the industry, man. It's gonna be crazy. But summer release and then holiday with the Switch 2 Pro, Weenie says. And you know what, Weenie? People would buy it. If they announced a Switch 2, or even, I'll do you one better, Weenie, because the screen for the Switch is a LCD screen. If they announced a LED Switch 2 and it was like a Hyrule themed or, you know, Mario Kart themed Switch 2, because they've done a couple of those over the years, people are going to buy them. Without a doubt. Like, no questions asked. They're going to buy them. So it's funny you say that. So yeah, this is the Switch 2, guys. Very excited to see more. You know, as the months go on. I mean, like I said, man, the year's already starting off strong. So, you know, we're definitely gonna be talking about it, man. Darkstar agrees too. Yeah, because they are. People will do it. Like, let's just cut it out, right? Like, people are gonna spend the money on it, man. It is what it is, right? So,
Nintendo.
Let's move on.
That was breathtaking.
We're gonna talk about Xbox now. And the rumors, man, of additional games coming to PlayStation. So, this was a rumor that originally came from, I believe the gentleman's name is Nate the Hate. He's a prominent leaker in the industry. He was the one that actually leaked, I think, the Switch 2 news, one of the big leakers for that, as well as another prominent Xbox leaker named Jez Corden. Shout out to those guys.
Oh, his name's not that cool.
He's from the UK, so comes slack.
Oh, he's cool. Yeah, you're cool.
Yeah. So the rumor is that Xbox is planning to release more games to multi-platform, more exclusive titles. Those being, let me see here, make sure I have the correct list in front of me. Prominent titles such as Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, Gears Ultimate Edition, Halo Master Chief Collection, and Age of Mythology. So let's just go ahead and talk about this. There's a lot to unpack here. I am not surprised that Xbox is continuing its full court press into non-exclusivity. And is it fair to say that they've sort of kind of given up on hardware sales at this point? I think that I don't want to say in that regard, but as their focus, it seems like, you know, we're gonna keep getting time. I guess timed exclusives is probably a better way to put that for their sales for these games. I mean, because we talked about Hellblade when it came out last year, and it didn't sell super well, didn't review super great. You know, it wasn't the game that people were hoping it was gonna be. But here we are again.
Damn, another disappointment. That was on my disappointment list.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I think you played a little bit of it, and
yeah,
it was quite unfortunate that, you know, once again here we are, you know, with Xbox continuing their plan moving forward. And this is why I said what I said earlier, man. I don't think it matters if games are good anymore. I just think it matters to companies how much they make. I mean, Master Chief Collection.
Essentially, yeah. It's It's almost like it's ruining the art to a certain degree, because it's like you have a lot of in-house problems that your typical regular gamer don't see, and there's a lot of strife and strafe between just companies and devs doing what they want or what they feel is a good game, and then, you know, what the machine just wants you to push out, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, we got to make these dates. We got what do you call them joints? Fucking quarterlies, and, you know,
quarterly reports and revenue.
We just need the game to come out. We can fix it later. We've had incidents like that, and we're gonna see a lot more of it, unfortunately. And that's why I think it's going to be very important to pay attention to what the indie game movement is going to do this year, because I believe it's going to be a big year for indie games.
I mean, that's the hope, but I mean, and even that too, right? Like, indie games aren't as cheap to make as they used to be. And I think that's just, once again, like you said, a product
but
of
not
the
even
industry.
cheap, but they have more freedom, I feel like, to create. You know what I mean?
Sure. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like that freedom. With that freedom comes creativity for them to like, it just creates good games, because when you have that freedom, you know what I'm saying, and you don't have someone breathing down your back and whatnot. And I'm just like, bro, it's going to be interesting. Pay attention to the indie scene this year. I promise you. It's gonna be
and this honestly, man, while I do think it's good that, you know, we'll finally be able to put to bed put to rest the whole PlayStation versus Xbox gamer debate. I mean, you know, I'm sure that Halo and Gears are going to do well over there. I'm not super familiar with Age of Mythology. I know it's kind of like a top-down tactical game, I think. But, you know, I just worry that over time we're going to continue to see less of a focus on hardware from Xbox. And I don't want that to be the case, because I never want to see a industry where it's only PlayStation and Nintendo dictating the console market, because then shit's really going to get shaky. You know, we've talked about it time and time again how, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I think PlayStation is super anti-consumer when it comes to their games. They only pretend like they're not now. You know, go back and look at the whole crossplay fiasco from a few years ago when they got bullied into turning it on for certain games. And
oh yeah, people forgot about that.
Yeah,
PlayStation was anti crossplay.
We want you over here and only over here. And, you know, Nintendo, they do what they want. Let's just be honest. Once again, they just kind of go to the beat of their own drum, sometimes to the detriment of the industry. And, you know, I don't want it to become a point where Xbox just like, okay, well, you know, we're gonna give you something to play your games on, but you don't have to, you know, my mind keeps going back to this is an Xbox commercial where, you know, the focus was, once again, it wasn't on their consoles. It was like, you can play Xbox games anywhere. And I think that's a good thing, but do you think it's going to de-emphasize people wanting to buy consoles from them going forward, especially if your marquee titles, a la Gears and Halo, make their way over to the competition.
Well, that's when time exclusives are definitely going to have to play a part
Yeah.
because I think they wouldn't totally shoot themselves in the foot like that. I think we will get time exclusives like the stuff that they're about to share right now. You know what I'm saying? Has been out for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And moving forward, I don't think that like a PlayStation will just get a new Halo day one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think, I don't think this is how that's going to work. It's going to be the titles come out, like Halo will come out, and then after a year or so, just like they do PC ports, right?
Yeah.
Like, it'll be out for a while, then it's like, okay, we're going to move it over to PlayStation. And what I've been explaining to people is the reason why this is happening because basically money. We need more money. Like, if you can play all your games, like if someone who owns a PlayStation but don't have an Xbox want to play Halo, that's essentially $60-$70 that they're missing out on. But
Yeah.
if later on they bring Halo over to PlayStation, then that person who actually likes Halo or want to play it, that's an extra $60 for them. It's really that simple.
True.
And it's so crazy how I have to break that down online, and people still want to say, oh, they just care about Xbox being dead and all the console war stupid shit. But I'm like, at the end of the day, it's a good business move, but as far as like people want a actual physical console, I don't know. That's hard to call. Like, a lot of people are saying that's a good talking point where people like, why do I need to own an Xbox?
Yeah, I mean, because I honestly feel the same way. Like, as somebody who has a PS5 and who mainly games on PC, outside of buying one for me and my wife to play on, like in our bedroom or the living room or something, like, I would not buy an Xbox. I still am on the fence about getting one this generation. I think I will eventually, but I'm not in a hurry to, man. Like, and I think that's overall, because we talked last week, was it, about NVIDIA and the price of gaming and how expensive it is for especially like investment on PC side. Like, this hobby is just continuing to get more and more expensive. And I think that maybe this is Xbox's way of trying to combat that while also make money. But, once again, like, is this going to eventually affect their bottom line when it comes to console sales? And will somebody like Satya and Nadella be like, okay, well, I mean, they don't sell Windows phones anymore for a reason, guys.
Hey. Don't need to bust my balls.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, I know, but you know what I mean, though, right? Like, they had investment there. They did it for a number of years, and they're like, you know what? We can just do better at making software. And I don't want them to take the Steam route. I really don't. Because I feel like they're looking at Steam's model right now, even though Steam isn't technically a developer anymore. They have a platform that they're allowing games to be published on. I'm afraid that we're going to go that direction eventually. I'm not saying I think they're going to stop making consoles anytime soon, but I think it's bad for the consumer if there's only one place that you can buy quote unquote AAA high fidelity games, and if that's just PlayStation, they're going to be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. They're not going to care if Xbox releases,
yeah, that's
Halo.
Never good.
It's scary, and I'm agreeing with you. Like, I don't think we'll get whatever the next Halo is, or whenever the next Gears of War comes out, if it's going to be day one. I don't think that's the case. But I mean, Indiana Jones, I think, is a 6-month or a year exclusive. They already said that was coming out on PlayStation, and I was looking at reports on that. Like, the game reviewed well, but once again, it kind of didn't hit, as far as sales numbers go. And if I'm Xbox and I'm looking at that, we have Game Pass to kind of supplement some of our development costs for our internal studios. But they're still looking at ways to make money. It still costs money to develop games, and Game Pass isn't the end all be all that people hope it is.
Right.
So it's just interesting to see, especially when we get to the announcements that we'll have next week, because they have a showcase next week. So I wonder what the talking point is going to be for some of those games. And You know, I wonder if a game like Forza, if that'll make its way over to Xbox. You know, I mean, PlayStation already kind of has their franchise in Gran Turismo. That comes out once every fucking 9 years, 10 years at this point. Like,
Right.
like, what if Forza overtakes them there? You know, it's so interesting to see. You know, yeah, it reviewed well, but it's not selling, right? And so you ask yourself, like I said, does it matter if a game is good anymore? Like, I don't know. I don't think it matters if games are good, because if they
have to sell.
How much money do they make? There's a reason why live service games keep getting made. They don't have to review well.
Fail after fail after fail.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some 2025. You'll see.
All right, are we predicting anything at the showcase? That's a good question, Tori. I think they showed a graphic of what they're planning to show at the showcase. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. We can talk about that. Why not? We can do a quick little prediction. Xbox January showcase. Developer Direct, excuse me. So we have this here. I can't open it in a new tab because there it is. Okay. So we have this graphic here. You know, we know we're gonna see Doom. We're gonna see South of Midnight and whatever this game is. This is the Exposition 33, I think. This game in the bottom left, and then we have this mysterious big game here. I think the mysterious game is gonna be from a Japanese studio. I don't have any reason other than the fact that, you know, Phil Spencer has talked about how he's wanted to develop his relationship with the Japanese market and developers over there, the game makers. They just recently put Persona, I think, on Xbox. Square Enix has talked about how they want Final Fantasy to come to Xbox. I think this game will be some sort of something. I don't know what franchise is going to be, but I think that's going to be something like from Japan. That's just my only prediction at this point. And I think we're going to see more than these 5 games, 100%. Because I think last time they had a developer, they had a graphic similar to this, but they did like a one more thing type situation. So we'll see, man. But how many shut down and studios closes soon after? A lot. And that's the problem. That's another problem too. Like, because you have studios or publishers that aren't willing to invest in certain franchises, or they're not willing to invest past the first initial franchise, especially if it doesn't make whatever that percentage is they want that game to hit in a certain amount of time, like DC said. You know, unfortunately, a lot of these companies are beholden to their shareholders, and if it doesn't look good, they're like, well, why the hell are we still making these? I mean, look at what's happening to Ubisoft right now. Tencent is talking about divesting a lot of their IP right now because, once again, they haven't been doing that great in the last 5-10 years. Mm-hmm. And it's sad, but I mean, that's just kind of where the industry is, and it sucks because I feel like this problem is only going to keep compounding over time. But just like DC said, people just want to talk about stupid console wars.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there is a price crisis. That's what a video game price crisis is here.
It is.
And people don't realize it's going to affect the gaming industry. The next 5 years, either there's going to be it's going to be a major shakeup in the industry because it have to be. Like, the industry is going to have to reset itself.
There's going to be something. Something has to be done. And Ivan, thank you for bringing that up, actually, because that was actually our last story of the day. We can actually tie it into this about, he says, true, but then why did they shut down like 9 live service games before they hit the market? So we can talk about that. You want to know what I think happened? Concord. I think Concord was the thing that turned their fucking heads and was like, okay, you know, we spent $400 million here. Let's not do this anymore. I think that the previous leadership for Sony, because, you know, it just recently changed a couple years ago. I forget who's the head of Sony of America now. It's not Sean Layden anymore. I think it's Sony Studios CEO. I can't remember who it is. PlayStation CEO. It's Herman Hulst. That's right. It's two CEOs now. I forgot. I couldn't remember the second guy. Yeah, so it's Herman Hulst and Hideaki Nishino, right? So they took one job and split it into two. And Herman Hulst, he came from the Horizon developer. I remember him. I remember his name. And Hideaki came from, he's like doing overseas stuff, like, PlayStation Network and all that stuff. So I think that they realized that, and I think a lot of studios are starting to get to that point, but you still have games that are in development right now, right? And not everyone has the ability to be like, okay, well, we're just going to stop here. We're going to shut down, because while Sony might have closed those live services, the last two that they announced the other day from Ben Studios and Bluepoint, one of which was a God of War live service game. We'll talk about that in a second. You still have companies like Xbox.
I'm so glad that didn't happen.
yeah. I mean,
that's gross.
You still have companies like Xbox who do live service games great. Forza Horizon, even though they can't really take credit for it. Diablo 4, Halo Infinite is technically a live service game. They're, it's not doing great, but it's still around, right? Like, they're still making some sort of revenue off of it. Like, there's still examples of successful AAA live service games. And then, there's always going to be some outliers here and there, but I don't think Sony's completely done with live service. I think they just realized the ones they were working on were terrible. And they picked the wrong studios to make them. Like, you go, like, Ben Studio, you have them go from making Days Gone, which was one of my favorite late generation PlayStation 4 games. You guys haven't played Days Gone, you should. It's on PC too, so you really have no excuse. It's a great fucking zombie game to play. But they took Ben Studio because, once again, the sales weren't there for that studio in Days Gone. And they were like, hey, we need you to make a live service game. You take a single player studio and turn them into a multiplayer studio. Same shit happened with Rocksteady and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You have them go from making Batman games to making a live service game for 8 years, and then it shuts down.
Yeah, it's not going to translate well.
It doesn't. Like, you got to pick the right studios.
Hey Darius, we want you to play point guard for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, you're taking the random. Yeah, Bluepoint they were a remaster studio, and you had them making a live service game. Why? they were making remasters of single player games. You can't, and it's a lot harder than people think. Like, game development is so hard and tricky and difficult. And I understand, they were probably just looking at the studios that they had on hand, and they were trying to save costs that way. But then hire people in the studios that make multiplayer games. Don't just tell someone who makes single player games, hey, Days Gone too. Don't stop that. Put that away.
Yeah, ill. This is not going to make us no money.
Yeah,
ill.
Yeah, we have this for you right here. I mean, at least they said they weren't going to shut the studios down. I'm thankful for that much. But what the hell what was a God of War live service game going to even look like? I can't even fathom what that was going to be. Like, once again,
that's gross. That is nasty to think about. That actually puts a lump in my throat. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean,
a live service God of War. I'm so glad that didn't happen, because that would have tarnished the legacy of Kratos.
It would have. Like, what? I can't even fathom what that game could have been. I mean, hell,
it paid $4.99 for different variations of him saying "boy."
Yeah, at least Naughty Dog had made a multiplayer component of not Last of Us, of Uncharted. They had some experience doing that, but at least they had the wherewithal to be like, okay, this is gonna fucking suck. Let's not make this anymore. Cool. But you're throwing shit at the wall to see if it sticks. They bought Bungie, and then Bungie wasn't what they thought it was gonna be, and now they're literally tearing Bungie apart. They're literally taking teams from Bungie and putting them in other studios. Bungie's a shell of its former self. Destiny 2 has lost 90% of its player base. Like, it's insane. It's actually insane right now. So I don't know what their plan is for multiplayer, but they're not gonna stop.
And Destiny, oh my God! If they make another Destiny, that shit better not be.
I don't think it's gonna matter.
It better not.
Honest.
It better not be nothing like what Destiny 2 is right now, or I will fucking scream.
I don't think it matters anymore. I don't think they're gonna even be allowed to.
You think people move it on?
Yes. I don't think we'll ever get a Destiny 3. I mean, because they're already working on Gosh, they're working on an extraction shooter right now. I forget what it's called. Marathon.
Hey man, that's gonna be another long development cycle of hell to get shitted on. I'm sorry.
That game it's supposed to come out this year. We haven't seen anything from Marathon outside of that teaser trailer 2 years ago. That game's not coming out this year.
No, it's not. It's not. And I pray that the developers get it right, but I have no faith in that game. I think that's going to be another one and done Concord type game, man.
I think it really breaks my heart that we could possibly see the end of Bungie. I think it's going to happen though. I do. And I think it's all like leadership, shit, rolls downhill. Like
wow, what a time.
Yeah, I still follow a lot of or not a lot. I still follow a few Destiny creators here and there. And I've been seeing like news making the rounds, and there's even like a former high-level manager from Bungie who's suing them right now for like millions of dollars. Like it's not good. It's not good over there right now, man. And it's sad. And this is why I said, going back to Xbox, I don't want this to be a 2-console reality. I don't want that to happen. I don't want Xbox to just treat hardware like an afterthought. But it could happen, a la the Windows Phone. DC was literally the only person I ever knew that had one, and he loved it. But
hey, man, I love my damn Windows Phone.
But here we are, right? We just iPhones and Samsung Galaxy are really the main.
It was so much innovative tech in that damn phone that never got a chance to shine. It was better than the iPhone. I'm gonna throw it out there.
Probably
kill me for mistake.
What do you think it is? Like, because they've made hardware. Didn't they make wasn't it the Zune? They made that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they just
my Gears of War Zune. I had a limited edition Gears of War.
Like they make good hardware. They're just terrible at marketing it, I guess, or selling hardware. I don't know what their problem is, man. But
and you could plug your Zune into your 360 and then have your playlist playing while you were playing
the game.
It was so cool, man. And I don't know what it is with their tech. Like, I think Microsoft has a better footing in the game.
Yeah.
Because right now, like, Apple is just overpriced, overhyped. Like,
and they don't innovate. Don't get me started on Apple.
They don't. Yeah, Apple don't do nothing innovative at all. It's just like prettier screen, yay, prettier, thinner laptop. Oh, it's so thin. You can put it between your
4 million pixels in 1 inch, and you can. It looks like water is coming at your face, like.
Oh my God. And to me, thinner is not always better because you drop that bullshit. It's a duh. That shit. You got that, what is it, that AirBook?
Oh, the MacBook Air,
Man, go ahead and drop that bitch if you want to. Drop that son bitch and you going straight to the Apple store. That thing done.
Yeah, man.
And then what's the point of having something so thin if you got to put a big thick ass case on it?
Yeah. And then, I mean, going back to Sony, they're not really going to change their format. Because it's working for them. People are still buying PS5s. Don't let anybody lie to you. The PS5 Pro is not selling as well as they're petitioning. They're pretending they are. They're not. You can look the numbers up. There's a reason why they haven't said shit about it since.
Yeah, it's a dubski. Like
they usually so quick to tell you how something sells after a certain quarter. You notice how they really haven't been talking about the PS5 Pro, right?
Crickets.
Reason for that. They realized too that they probably made a mistake going mid-gen refresh, but they're gonna make, we're gonna get
any refreshness.
It's just
like, wait, PlayStation Pro now is getting the Nintendo Switch 2 memes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but once again, we have a big problem that's just it's really getting worse as time goes on. And
y'all look, bottom line is y'all gonna have to start paying for this shit, man.
Prices,
that's the bottom line.
Yesterday's price.
Games will cost more.
Yeah, it's just gonna keep going up, man. Like until and then you have to wonder, like, will it ever level out? Probably not. The price doesn't justify the minimal upgrade. Correct. 100%. I agree with you 1,000%.
Oh, for the PS5 Pro?
Yeah, the PS5 Pro is what we said. Yeah, I agree. But like I said last week, that's going to be the base floor probably for the next gen. We'll probably get like a $500 Series X or Series S like successor. That'll probably be like $500, but I guarantee you the premium Xbox is going to be it's probably going to be around $700. I would be shocked if it wasn't. like actually
These next
shocking.
consoles are gonna cost, and people are gonna bitch, but
They're
it's
gonna
gonna have to be done.
they're
It's
gonna
gonna
be
have to be done, man.
people are
Like
gonna be
you
mad and
can't
they're gonna
keep
buy it
getting.
anyway.
It's like you can't keep getting premium product for
Yeah.
low end prices. You can't. Like that's like okay, you want to sell a Rolls Royce for Honda prices. Like you can't. You just can't.
Yeah.
Eventually, prices are gonna have to go up, man. And I'm gonna love to see how Reddit, online social medias, and everybody just explode when the
You better be
new
ready for
consoles
it.
come out.
We'll probably get. I reckon we'll get some sort of a tease for the next Xboxes either late this year or sometime next year. I don't think it'll come out 2026. I just don't see that. My mind has changed. My mind has been going back and forth on that actually. Like, but
Oh, and
2027
that
sounds more
brings up.
reasonable to me.
And
But
guess what? And guess what? We'll be getting a remake of when the new consoles come out. Grand Theft Auto
yeah, Grand
6.
Theft Auto next gen version. Grand Theft Auto
Next
6 next
gen.
gen.
It's back. And this one lasting
Yeah.
a full 15 years.
Yeah. Oh,
So get ready to
we're
be
gonna
playing
be
GTA
old
till
men.
you're old.
Yeah. By the
I'm
time
gonna be
GTA
old
7 comes
fart.
out, we're gonna be old, man. We're gonna be senior
Oh,
citizens.
God. We're gonna be older. That is scary to think about. A gaming cycle.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
It's just
I'm gonna
crazy,
be on
man.
my way out the door.
Stupid. It's so stupid.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I'm irregardless, guys, of all that. I'm still excited for this year and the future of gaming. There are people much smarter than us who work on these things that I will hopefully find a solution, right? Like, I'm not going to pretend like everything I'm saying is gospel or it's going to be right. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really am. Like, God, I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'm wrong. Because otherwise, hey, it is what it is, I guess. But I think that's going to wrap her and dapper, guys, man. That's
Rapper.
another great episode as usual, man. I've been enjoying these conversations with you, chat, during the pod.
About video games.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying having everybody included, man, and we want to continue this streak for this. So, thank you guys for hanging out, man, for episode 218 of the Super Weapon Podcast. As always, man, I appreciate you guys. Not a lot of extra from me this week. We do have, once again, the Developer Direct is next Thursday, so we'll obviously be talking about that next week. So please, if you don't watch it, I don't think. Yeah, obviously I can't stream it. I'm gonna be at fucking work. So we might watch it live next week or something, or after the pod, and we'll talk about it some kind of way. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate you guys, man. I don't have a lot. You can follow me everywhere. Darius the Artist, except on TikTok. That's going away. Just kidding. Follow me on Twitter. Darius the Artist for Ease of 3. Make sure you guys sub to the YouTube. We're back uploading on there after our short break. Please go over there. Even if you don't watch the entire video, like the video, leave a comment. That definitely helps out, man. We appreciate you guys nonetheless.
You better start liking.
Please, or we'll find you. And then we'll ask you to like again. DC!
You see how I'm staring down this mic? Yeah. We're talking to you, baby. Another great episode of the greatest podcast on the whole entire eastern side of the planet. Wait, are we on east? Oh no, we're west, right? They call us Westerners, ain't that right? Something like that. Anyway,
it depends. It's all relative, I guess. Yeah, relative.
Yeah, the world spins one direction, right? Okay.
Yes.
But yes, another great episode, guys. We love. I love these talks about consoles. Actually, I really do. The behind the scenes insider stuff is what I live for. We just want you guys to have a whole new perspective on video games when you come here and sit down. Hopefully, we could shed a little light on the back end of, your favorite consoles, your favorite games, take you on the other side of the game and hopefully spread a little information, because as gamers, we have to stop being so entitled. I just throw that out there. I want to end on that note. You have to be a little bit more understanding of how these games are made. I'm not saying make excuses for them. If they're bad, right? But we just want you to have a better understanding here. And that's one of the biggest parts of why we do this. So with that being said, you guys have a awesome, amazing weekend. Saturday is a 3-day weekend. We got the Dr. King. You know what I'm saying? We celebrating the King on Monday. You feel me?
Yes.
So enjoy your 3-day weekend. relax, regroup, get with your families, enjoy yourself, and we'll do the same here.
All right, thank you guys. I'm end of the episode, man. If you guys are in chat, hang around. We're gonna play some video games. We'll see you next time.
Still hell diving.